Rising. We have another simply marvelous show for you today. I was going to say that I thought we had coordinated our outfits, that it was matching, and you immediately ended my sentence with the word clashing.
See, now
I just don't understand fashion or color.
I come off as the scold who won't allow you just to enjoy that we're both wearing blue because yours is more teal and mine is more sky blue. Look, I appreciate that you always want us to feel like we're on the same team, Robby, and that's what counts.
All right, that's good enough for me. Okay, the show today has journalist and author Allison Young, who will discuss the latest developments about the potential COVID lab leak origin. She's also author of a great book on lab leaks in general. I highly recommend it. We'll also discuss more of Special Counsel John Durham's testimony from yesterday. But first, let's get into the big news.
Yes, well, as of about 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the U.S. Coast Guard estimates the missing OceanGate Titanic submersible is out of oxygen. Yesterday, search crews expanded the scope of the search and rescue mission. On the surface, the area is about twice the size of Connecticut. Below the surface, it's 2.5 miles deep. A remotely operated vehicle deployed by Canadian rescuers also researched the seafloor yesterday. However, with time all but running out, it's unclear how long the search and rescue mission will continue.
A New York Times report confirmed the wife of Stockton Rush, the pilot of the missing sub and owner of its maker, OceanGate, is actually the great-great-granddaughter of two first-class passengers who died on the Titanic. A fictionalized version of the couple is even featured in the movie. They're shown embracing each other in bed as the icy waters enter the cabin. So obviously no good news to report here. I mean, as I said, it was going to be a long shot is an understatement that they would find this vehicle, this submarine, let alone with enough time with the oxygen, and we don't even know. Again, it could have been there was an explosion. The thing is gone. That there might not have been living people to find, even if it was found, and finding it was going to be like finding a needle in the vast ocean. Yeah,
I mean, at this point, one almost wishes that it was a quicker demise, because some of the experts that have been weighing in on what the circumstances of a hypothetical rescue would be like have pointed to the fact that it's very cold underwater, that they're likely in the dark, that they obviously haven't had food or water, that they only had a canister to urinate into, that obviously their oxygen supply has been diminishing. The mood within the vessel, given the blame game that's likely to be thrown around, given that the owner of this OceanGate was in there, I would not have wanted to end my time on Earth that way.
Right, but we're unlikely to ever know. It could have been much quicker than that.
Yeah.
I suppose the search is going to continue, but I don't know that this submarine is ever going to be found, or it could be found years from now.
Yeah.
It could be found, again, the wreckage of the Titanic took 50 years to find.
Absolutely.
And they knew roughly where it was.
Yeah, what's interesting, I read that the person who found the Titanic also found another historical ship that had shrunk, the Bismarck, and didn't disclose where the other ship was because he was so put off by the commercialization of what happened with the Titanic. And it is interesting when you reflect on how there happens to be this connection between people who actually died on the Titanic and the people who are dying, or one of the people who is in the vessel currently. Is this a commentary on hubris of the wealthy? The way so much of the discourse on the internet has been about that, has been focused on, the idea that it's ridiculous to pay $250,000 for a trip to the bottom of the ocean, and that it is hubristic to think that you can build your own handcrafted vessel without any certifications and engage in this very risky behavior, perhaps in part because you have so much money that you're not used to being told no, or that you have an outsized sense of your own genius or something like that.
I mean, I kind of said this. I think I didn't argue my case particularly well when we talked about this yesterday, but I'm not one to yuck your yum. If it's your money and you want to spend this on an adventure of a lifetime, it's not how I would choose to spend my time or my money. It's not how most people would do it, but that is your choice. And also our exploration in general over human history has been propelled by iconoclastic weirdos doing things contrary to the norms and expectations and safety of the time. That accounts for the discovery of the Americas. It certainly accounts for a lot of the Arctic discovery, Antarctic discovery, which was very dangerous. And many of those expeditions, tons of lost lives during those endeavors, which were important and brought us to a better understanding of the globe, the world we occupy. So I don't want to be too condemning or that sort of thing. Now, again, you brought up all the the safety concerns and the liability, and that it certainly could be the case that this thing was poorly manufactured and there were warnings, there was person speaking out. So maybe it's a different situation, but I'm not going to reflexively shoot down someone's dream if that's how they want to spend their time. Again, I wouldn't do it. And also the Titanic, right? It is it is a burial site. It's a memorial, a water memorial. Yeah. I would be inclined to just let the dead rest. Yeah. But.
Well, entrepreneur Mario Knopfel says he hosted an 8-hour space on the site discussing the Titanic Sub with experts and friends of the passengers. And the most likely scenario from that conversation is that the hull of the submersible imploded due to the brittle carbon fiber material, killing all 5 passengers within milliseconds. He also alleges that those who were in the Twitter space said this of the company's CEO, Stockton Rush. The CEO of the company, OceanGate, who was also the pilot, is a risk taker that has cut corners, most likely to make more money by cutting costs. Multiple reports by ex-employees, the CEO himself in past interviews, and third parties point to the company being frugal and cutting corners when it comes to safety, which the CEO did not take seriously. This means the submersible was likely of low quality, which we can assume is what led to the implosion or the mechanical failure.
There's a lot of assumption. Maybe that's the case. I don't want to just assume that people weighing in on social media are right.
There was reporting on the one of the red flags was that the viewing window that was put into the craft, the ostensible purpose is to go down there so you can literally see the Titanic as opposed to looking at pictures. And there were concerns about it not being the quality and type that would have been recommended by engineers for a vessel that's going to that depth. So there are these kind of, in the view of experts, obvious structural failures of the craft. And in retrospect, it almost seems like it was a ticking time bomb and only a matter of time until on one of these journeys to the bottom of the ocean, they were unable to return. One other aspect of the story that has really taken the internet by storm is the ongoing drama with the stepson of the missing billionaire on the Titanic. Shortly after the craft went missing, he was tweeting from a Blink-182 concert, a classic 90s, early aughts band, about how I'm sad, but he was also seemingly trying to leverage the tragedy that was befalling his family into like perks at the concert or something like that. It's been a real milkshake duck situation where he subsequently has battled with celebrities on the internet. N-words have been dropped. He's had a real interesting narrative arc over the course of the last 48 hours or so.
Yeah, I've not been paying super close attention to this. It's wild and doesn't have anything to do with anything, but he's grieving in a very interesting and public way.
Yeah, and another aspect of it, he apparently has some criminal issues after stalking women, and there was a story that his father and his stepfather's wealth was used by the father to help get him out of jail and threatened to sue the prison where he was being held and then subsequently was released early on stalking charges. This is intersecting with some of the criminal justice issues we were talking about yesterday in an interesting way. So we could probably do a whole other segment on what's been going on with him.
Of the crimes of the stepson of one of the passengers of the submarine that we will never see again.
Correct. So it's been a wild couple of days. If we have any updates, of course, we will bring them to you tomorrow, and we'll have more Rising for you after this.